of Al-Azhar, Sheikh Ahmed Al-Tayeb, rejected the latest decision by President of the United States, Donald Trump, to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Grand Imam said that Trump has denied the rights of the Palestinians, and not only the Palestinians, but all the Muslims and the Christians, for the rights in the holy city of Jerusalem. He also called on urgent international meeting for the Muslims and the Christians in all the countries to discuss the issue. To know more about this matter, we are joined by Professor Hussam Allam, and he's a researcher at the Higher Supreme of Al-Azhar.
Dr. Hussam, good afternoon.
First of
all, what were the recommendations of His Excellency the Grand Imam concerning dealing with the crisis of Jerusalem?
Yeah, of course. This is a very important question. First of all, thank you so much, Ms. Dina and Ms. Tasha, for having me here. It's always a pleasure to be here in Native International. Of course, Al-Azhar has always maintained its uncompromising stance when it comes to the Palestinian cause and all the causes of the Arab and the Muslim world, and even the global ones. And of course, in light of the most recent developments that we have witnessed, of course, Al-Azhar also made a clear and a historic stance with this regard. So it called for all international concerned parties to live up to their responsibilities when it comes to the cause of the Palestinian people. And of course, Al-Azhar has always maintained that when it comes to the occupation of Palestine, this is an issue that concerns all Muslims and Christians and also the Arab world, alongside with the Palestinian people.
Sir, the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Sheikh Ahmed Al-Tayeb, took a strong stance against the decision by U.S. President Donald Trump. First, he refused to meet the U.S. Vice President, and he made lots of statements concerning this issue. What are the chances, and what are in his hands to offer regarding this matter?
You mean as to what exactly? Who offers what? As to what exactly?
What can he do to deal with this important issue?
Well, when it comes to the stance itself, when it comes to saying clearly that there is no point of sitting with ones who give that which they do not own to those or to who does not deserve. This actually has been a stand that also reiterated by the church in Egypt, and also Al-Azhar highly hailed and appreciated this. And you can see also this reiterated now by the EU and many world powers on a global level. But still, the thing is, Al-Azhar has been doing its best to try to be an effective factor in bringing about a peaceful solution to the cause. And this is why, for example, Al-Azhar has called for an international conference to be held, which is supposed to, or which is due to be held, as a matter of fact, this next January. So the point is, Al-Azhar has always been doing its best, and this comes in line with its historical stance when it comes to this regard. For example, we can look back at the document that Al-Azhar issued when it comes to Al-Aqsa, and clearly stating that when it comes to the Arab identity of Al-Aqsa and Al-Quds, especially when it comes to Al-Quds or Jerusalem, this, as a matter of fact, goes even 4 millennia before Jesus Christ, peace be upon him. And how is it when it comes to Jerusalem, which is a word of an Arabic origin? This is a cause that has been, and the city itself is over 6,000 years old, like I said, and the Arabs has always existed there, and it was what we know as the Jebusites, or Al-Yabusiyun, as they are known also in Arabic, and they have always been there. And this is why it has always been a city for and for all people, and of great significance. And especially when it comes to when Muslims were there, it has always been a place that's open for all one, because Islam acknowledges and recognizes all Muslims, Christians, and all, and of course Jews. And This is not the case when we look at previous eras, and unfortunately today as well. For example, when we look back in history, when it comes to the time of the Babylonians, when it comes to the time of the Greek, when it comes to the time of the Romans, alongside with what happened with the Crusades, when they took the city of Jerusalem or Al-Quds, they treated it as a monopoly of themselves, and they prevented everyone else from practicing their religion freely and the rituals freely. And this was not the case when it came to the Arab and also the Muslims. And this is why, for example, we have witnesses to this fact nowadays. For example, many of the keys to the churches nowadays are held by Arab Muslims, and they ensured the rights of the Christians of the Arab world to maintain their religious rituals and their freedom of worship. And also there's a very important thing that we need to highlight here, which is the fact that when it comes to Islam and the Muslims, of course, Jerusalem is of a paramount importance to them, and they see it as the first direction of prayer, and house it Jerusalem and the entire area there is the third holiest place for Muslims after the Kaaba and the mosque of the Prophet, peace be upon him, in Medina. And also when it comes to Muslims, we know that it is there that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, led all prophets and messengers in prayer, alongside with the fact that when it comes to Jerusalem, prayer, and this is why Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, himself advised Muslims to pray in Jerusalem and in Al-Aqsa, saying that and informing them that one prayer in Al-Aqsa is worth 500 prayers any elsewhere. So the point is, the cause is not only or solely limited to the Palestinian people. It's a cause that has to do with all Muslims and also all Christians, and of course to all Jews. But the thing is, there must be a fair solution that recognizes these historical facts and does not change the status quo or to try to deny the right of the Palestinian people and the right of Muslims and Arabs, be they Muslims or Christians.
Dr. Alam, actually also this decision, it totally contradicts with the United Nations resolutions of the
Yes.
1967
Yeah.
of the Jerusalem, and even of the negotiations of a two-state solution. Now, what can we as Arab countries do to change the United States decision or to exert pressure on it?
Well, for me as an observer, I can clearly see from the stance of Al-Azhar that it has called out on all concerned parties, like I said, when it comes to all the global entities, when it comes to the UN, when it comes to the Organization of the Islamic Conference, when it comes to the Arab League, to take serious and immediate measures and steps in order to counter this illegitimate and illegal unilateral decision that disregards all UN resolutions and also the resolutions of the International Court of Justice. So the Al-Azhar, like I said, is doing as much as it can in this regard, and is taking firm steps and firm stances that can clearly be described as historic in this regard, and of course conducive to in its support to the cause, and of course for it to be a cause that belongs to all Muslims and Christians and of all religions across the globe.
Sir, when you listen to the Israeli officials when they talk about the issue of Jerusalem and Al-Aqsa Mosque, they say that it's not a matter, it's not a political matter, it's a religious matter to them. What do they mean by this?
Of course, I don't know exactly what do they mean, but the thing is, this is the core issue. From what we can see, that this is the dilemma, the idea that people can claim political authority just on the basis of a religious creed. This is very problematic. For example, we as Muslims, we love so much Mecca and we love so much Medina, but that does not necessarily mean that every Muslim has to go there and claim political authority just because it is important to Muslims. So this is per se a very problematic issue, and this is a very important thing. And like I said, this is something that cannot be accepted or recognized by the international global community and all peace-loving countries, and even historically speaking, because this is the thing here. The point is, here we have historical facts of the Jebusites who were the first to live and to build Jerusalem. And like I said, the word Jerusalem itself is a word of an Arabic origin. So we know that historically speaking, the Jebusites and the Canaanites, they lived there, and we know that it is more than 6,000 years. So even acknowledging the fact that the Hebrews lived there during the time of David and during the time of Solomon, and they are mentioned even in the biblical narratives as only kings, not even as prophets. So this does not necessarily bring about a political claim. Otherwise, we will need to change and amend all the current maps in the world because of historical events that took place prior to this, which does not make any sense when it comes to the global public international law and all world entities who abide by the public international law.
Dr. Hussam Allam, the Islamic researcher at the Azhar Council, thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you so much for having me, and it's always a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. And now we are going to watch this report. This report is by Nermeen Abdurrahman and directed by Mohammed Rabia. It's about human resources and the successful leadership.